The rule here is only if you already know them. If you've met them, asking, how's your mom doing, is polite. It shows you remember details.
But you're not supposed to assume the status of the relationship, right?
Never.
Okay, so I want to start today by putting you in a specific headspace. Picture this. You're at a work dinner.
Okay.
It's a nice place, soft lighting, good appetizers on the table. You're sitting across from a colleague you really like, and they've brought their spouse along.
Low stakes, good vibes. I like these dinners.
Exactly. So you've been chatting with the spouse for, 20 minutes. You're being charming, you're funny, the rapport is building.
You're thinking, I am absolutely crushing this.
Totally. You are nailing this social interaction. So you decide to, deepen the bond a little. You lean in, you smile warmly, and you ask what feels like the most natural, friendly question in the world.
Uh-oh.
So, do you guys have any kids?
And cue the record scratch.
It's an instant freeze. I mean, the spouse just looks down at their drink, your colleague is suddenly fascinated by the menu.
And the silence stretches out for what feels like 3 hours.
It feels like an eternity. And you were just in there thinking, what on earth did I just do?
You, my friend, just stepped on a cultural landmine.
But that's the confusing part. Because in so many cultures, asking about family is the baseline. It's how you show you're a good person. It's warm, it's polite.
Of course.
But in the very specific context of modern American conversation, you didn't just ask a question, you walked right into an invisible boundary.
And that is exactly what we are going to get into today. We are doing a deep dive into the invisible architecture of American family talk. We're going to map out which questions are warm and welcome.
And which ones will absolutely clear a room.
Exactly.
And what I found so fascinating as we were prepping for this is that it's not just a random list of don'ts. It's not arbitrary etiquette. There's a logic to it.
There is. If you look at the patterns, there's a governing principle behind all of this American awkwardness, and it basically boils down to one psychological battle. Control versus justification.
Control versus justification. Okay, let's unpack that because that sounds a little heavy for small talk over appetizers.
It is heavy, but it's usually subconscious. So here's the rule. A safe question in an American context is one that allows the other person to control the volume.
Okay, so they have their hand on the dial.
They have their hand on the dial. They get to decide exactly how much they reveal. A dangerous question, or a rude one, is anything that backs them into a corner and forces them to justify a life choice or explain a pain point.
So it's about the exit strategy. If I ask a question, I need to make sure you have a back door to escape through if you don't want to answer it.
Precisely. In a culture that values privacy and individualism as much as the U.S. does, trapping someone in a conversation is like the ultimate sin.
Okay, let's test this out. Let's make this practical. I'll be the well-meaning but slightly confused conversationalist. You ask me a safe question based on this control principle.
Okay, here's a classic green light question. We're at that dinner. I ask you, do you have any siblings?
Do you have any siblings? Okay, see, that feels easy. I can just give you the data. Yeah, I've got one sister. Boom, done.
Right. You answered it, but you kept close.
Or if I'm in the mood, I can say, oh, man, yes, I have 3 brothers. It was absolute chaos. Let me tell you about the time we broke the garage door.
And then see what happened there. You had the wheel. You decided whether to give me the yes-no version or the full-on documentary version.
Whereas with the do you have kids question,
you lose the wheel. Think about it. If the answer is no, or we can't, or we're trying and it's heartbreaking, there's no way to give a breezy, casual answer without lying.
Right.
You've forced me to either lie to your face to keep the mood light, or I have to open up a deep emotional vein right there at the dinner table.
And that's the violation. I've forced you to do emotional labor you did not sign up for.
That is the violation. You stripped away their control.
So if we're building a toolkit here, safe zone list, we know siblings are usually okay. What else is on that list? Because I need alternatives if I can't ask about kids.
Well, interestingly enough, there's a category I like to call the Trojan Horse.
Ooh, intriguing.
It looks like a personal question, but it's actually safe. It's geography.
Geography? Like, what's the capital of North Dakota?
No, it's where does your family live?
That's oddly specific. But you're right, I hear that all the time.
It's a trick. It sounds like a family question because the word family is in there, so it feels warm. But it's actually a logistics question. It lets people talk about travel or weather or, oh, my mom's in Florida.
Which effortlessly leads to, oh, do you visit often? Or
Mm.
how do you handle the humidity?
Exactly. It's incredibly low stakes. Nobody's going to have an emotional breakdown discussing the location of their parents' house. It keeps the conversation moving without demanding vulnerability.
That is actually genius. It mimics intimacy without any of the risk.
Yeah.
Wait, what about asking about the parents themselves? Like, how are your parents?
Proceed with caution. The rule here is only if you already know them. If you've met them, asking, how's your mom doing, is polite. It shows you remember details.
But you're not supposed to assume the status of the relationship, right?
Never. The biggest red flag I see is when people ask things like, are your parents still together?
Oof.
Yeah, that just feels intrusive, saying it out loud. It feels like I'm asking for gossip.
It's way too direct.
Yeah.
In American communication, you're supposed to pick up on clues, not ask for the whole dossier.
Yeah.
If they're divorced, the person will just mention it naturally. They'll say, oh, when I was at my dad's house last week. You catch the ball, you don't demand they throw it to you.
Got it. Okay, one more safe one I saw in our research, which I actually use all the time. Any fun family plans for the holidays?
The gold standard. It is the perfect small talk question. It's seasonal, it's relevant, and again, total control.
Right.
They can say, just staying home and watching Netflix, or they can give you the full itinerary of their trip to Aspen. And neither answer is wrong.
And neither requires a justification.
Exactly.
Okay, so those are the green lights. Now I want to drive straight into the danger zone. We touched on the kids question, but I want to understand why it's so charged. Because honestly, historically, asking when are you starting a family was just what you did. Sure, it was how you ensured the survival of the tribe. But we aren't in the tribe anymore. We're in a highly individualistic culture. And the danger zone questions all share one specific trait.
What's that?
They all ask why.
The why factor.
Yes, if you ask, why aren't you married yet? Or when are you having kids? Which is really just asking, why don't you have them now? You are demanding a justification for the most private decision a human can make.
It implies that their current state is a problem, like it's something that needs to be fixed.
But that's it. That is the subtext. If I ask you, why aren't you married? I'm implicitly saying, you seem great, so what's the defect? Why hasn't someone snapped you up?
It frames being single as a failure state, like you're a product left on the shelf.
Which is wildly offensive to someone who might be happily single. Or maybe they're going through a brutal breakup. Or maybe they've been with their partner for 10 years and just don't believe in the institution of marriage. When you ask why, you force them to put that philosophy or that pain right on the table.
And with the kids question, I feel like the statistical probability of stepping on a landmine there is higher than ever.
It is. If you're at a dinner party with 10 couples, the stats suggest that at least one, maybe two, are dealing with infertility. Someone else might have just had a miscarriage. Someone else might be child-free by choice and is just so sick and tired of defending that choice to strangers.
I have friends who've chosen not to have kids, and they say people treat them like they're selfish for it.
They do, and this brings us right back to that core American value, individualism. We were raised with this idea that you are the architect of your own destiny. So when a stranger questions your life path, it's seen as an attack on your autonomy.
You're questioning their project.
Right. So the hard rule here is what?
Never ask about reproductive plans. Period.
Period. Just delete it from your database. Unless they bring it up. If they say, yeah, we're thinking about turning the guest room into a nursery, then the door is open. Walk through it. But you never, ever knock on that door yourself.
Okay, let's pivot a little. Because even when you are safely talking about family, the actual structure of the American family has changed so much. It's not just mom, dad, and two kids anymore.
Not even close. We've moved way beyond nuclear family 101.
And the vocabulary has just exploded to keep up with it. It's like learning a new language. You've got step-parents, step-siblings, half-siblings, and people get really specific about these terms.
They do, and the distinctions really matter. A step-sibling is your step-parent's child, no blood relation. A half-sibling shares one biological parent. And while that sounds technical, people are usually pretty rigid about using the right term because it defines the history of how they grew up.
It defines the DNA versus the household.
Exactly. It tells the story of the divorce or the remarriage. But then you have this evolution of language where people are trying to soften the edges. Have you heard the term bonus mom?
Yes. I've seen this on social media. Shout out to my bonus mom.
I love this shift. I mean, think about the cultural baggage of the word stepmother.
Oh, yeah. Disney really did a number on that brand.
Right. The wicked stepmother. It sounds legalistic, cold, maybe even hostile. bonus mom is a total rebranding. It says, I didn't have to be your parent, but I chose to be, and that's a bonus for both of us.
That's actually a really beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah.
It emphasizes the choice again.
There's that word again, choice. The family you choose.
On the flip side, though, you have terms that are a little more, let's say, street, like baby mama and baby daddy.
Extremely informal. And it usually implies a very specific dynamic. It refers to the other parent of your child when you are not in a romantic relationship with them. It's functional, but it definitely carries a different tone than co-parent, which is the corporate therapy-approved term.
It's just fascinating that we have all these specific labels. It feels like Americans need to categorize every single dynamic.
Well, it proves that diverse family structures are finally being acknowledged. In some cultures, you might hide the complexity. You just call everyone cousin or auntie to smooth it over. In the U.S., we label it. We put a name tag on it.
Speaking of dynamics, this leads us to what I think is the most jarring concept for people from more communal cultures, the whole concept of estrangement.
This is a big one, and it's on the rise.
I think for a lot of the world, the idea of just casually not talking to your parents is shocking. It's a taboo. You honor your parents no matter what. But in the U.S., it seems normalized.
Normalized is exactly the right word. Again, you have to go back to that core value. Individualism. In many cultures, family is an obligation. It's a fact of life you endure. In America, relationships are viewed as a choice.
So if the relationship isn't serving you, you can just opt out.
Essentially, yes. If you ask someone, do you see your brother often? And they say, no, we're not really close. We talk maybe once a year. There isn't necessarily any shame attached to that. It's just a statement of fact.
And then there's the extreme version, which I'm seeing everywhere now, going no contact.
Which is a therapy term that has totally gone mainstream. It usually implies there was toxicity or abuse, and the person made a deliberate, protective decision to cut ties for their own mental health.
Okay, so let's role play this, because this is where I think a well-meaning person, maybe someone who really loves their own family, can stick their foot in it so badly.
Let's do it.
I'm going to tell you something sad about my family.
Mm.
You react the way a bad conversationalist would. You be the person who just doesn't get it.
Okay. I'm ready to be helpful and incredibly annoying.
Yeah, honestly, my dad and I don't really speak anymore. It's been about 5 years.
Oh my God, that is so sad. I'm so sorry. But, you know, he's your dad. Families are so important. Life is too short to hold grudges. Maybe you should try reaching out to him. Just send a text.
Ugh, my stomach just tightened. I feel judged. I feel like you're trying to fix me.
Exactly. I am imposing my value system. That family must be together onto your boundary. I'm telling you, your choice is wrong.
So what's the right way? If I drop that bomb on you, how do you handle it without being cold?
Neutral acceptance. You validate the reality without trying to change it. You just say, I get that, or that makes sense.
That makes sense.
That's it. Maybe I didn't hear you. You are signaling, I respect that you are an adult who has made a decision. You're not asking for the drama, and you're not trying to be the peacekeeper.
It's so simple, but it's really hard to do if your instinct is to heal.
You have to suppress the urge to be the hero. In American conversation, respecting the individual's boundary is the highest form of politeness.
That applies to holidays too, right? Because holidays seem to be the Super Bowl of family stress.
Oh, the holidays. The most wonderful, stressful time of the year.
We think of them as joy and lights and food, but if you listen to how people actually talk about them, it sounds more like obligation culture.
It's a logistical nightmare, especially for those blended families we talked about. You have the Thanksgiving with mom, Christmas with dad shuffle. You have the stepdad's new girlfriend's dinner to attend. It's a whole scheduling puzzle.
And that's before you even throw in the political divide. Don't bring up politics at Thanksgiving is basically a national proverb.
It is. But all this stress has actually birthed in a new tradition that I think is really telling. Friendsgiving.
I love Friendsgiving. It's usually better food too.
It's often better vibes. But look at what it represents. It's the perfect example of the chosen family concept. You might do the obligatory dinner with your biological family on Thursday because you have to.
But the real celebration is on Saturday with your friends because you want to.
And that reinforces that idea that the people you choose can be just as important, if not more so, than the people you share DNA with.
Which is a distinctly American concept. The bloodline is not the bottom line.
Not at all.
Okay, I want to move to what might be my favorite part of this deep dive, the Decoder ring.
Ah, yes. Let's do.
Because Americans are polite, right? They don't always say what they mean. They say things that sound simple, but they are actually code for something much more complex. So I'm going to throw a phrase at you, something I might hear at a party. I want you to tell me what it really means.
I'm ready. Translate away.
Okay, phrase number 1. You ask about someone's parents, and they give a tight smile and say, oh, my parents are very traditional.
Translation. My parents hold conservative values that I probably don't agree with. They might be a little racist or homophobic, and it causes a lot of friction.
Spot on. It's a polite warning label.
It is. It says, don't bring up politics around them, and please don't judge me for what they might say.
Okay, next one. My family is really close.
Ooh, this one is tricky. 90% of the time, that's positive. But you have to watch the tone. If they say it with a sigh or an eye roll,
What does that mean?
it means enmesh.
Enmeshed.
It means we have no boundaries. My mom calls me 5 times a day, and everyone knows everyone's business. It's a warning that there is zero privacy in that clan.
Good catch. Okay, how about this one? You ask where someone grew up, and they say, I was raised by my grandmother.
The translation here is simple. My parents were absent. Could be addiction, could be prison, could be abandonment. But the rule is, don't ask why.
Right, you don't say, oh, so where were your parents?
Never. If they want to tell you, they will. I was raised by my grandmother is a complete sentence. Treat it as a fact, not a mystery you need to solve.
Similar to, I basically raised myself.
That is a badge of honor. That's resilience talking. They are not looking for pity. They're telling you they're independent and they survived something. They're proud of it.
And finally, the ultimate boundary phrase, the nuclear option. You ask a question about family, and they just say, it's complicated.
That means, Sai Sherry B, do not pass go. Do not ask a follow-up question.
It's a stop sign.
It is a giant red flashing stop sign. It's complicated is code for, there's a long, probably painful story here that I am absolutely not telling you, and if you push me on this, I will dislike you.
So the only polite response is,
I hear you. And then you immediately change the subject to sports, the weather, or that geography question we love so much.
that is such a crucial takeaway. It saves you from being the person who ruined the dinner.
It really does. It allows everyone to save face.
So when we look at all of this, the safe questions, the landmines, the vocabulary, the code words, what's the big picture here? If I'm listening to this and I want to be a better conversationalist,
Yeah.
what is the core philosophy I need to adopt?
If I had to synthesize it all, I'd say American family conversation is navigated entirely through the lens of choice.
Choice.
Yes. In many cultures, family is a fixed point. It's gravity. You can't escape it, so you might as well talk about it openly. In America, there's this underlying belief that you choose your life.
You choose your partner, your job, your city.
And you choose who constitutes your family, step-parents, friends, partners. You choose how much you interact with them. And most importantly for our listener, you choose how much of that private world you share with others.
So when you're chatting at that work dinner, your goal isn't to dig for the truth or get to the bottom of who they are.
No, your goal is to find the boundary and respect it. The kindest thing you can do in an American conversation is to give the other person the dignity of their own privacy.
So if they give you a short answer, let it be short.
Let it be short. If they hint that it's complicated, let it remain complicated. You don't need to fix it. You just need to respect it.
That is the ultimate sign of social intelligence in the U.S.
Precisely.
And if you are ever in doubt, if you're ever sitting there panicking about what to say,
Ask where they grew up. Geography. It works every single time.
there you have it. The secret to being a social genius is maps. Who knew?
It's safer than asking about babies. I promise you that.
Well, that's going to do it for this deep dive into the invisible boundaries of family talk. Next time you're at a dinner party, listen for those code words. Watch the control knob of the conversation. Are you letting them drive?
And seriously, just delete the when are you having kids question. Just trust us. Your social life will thank you.
Consider it deleted. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you in the next deep dive.
Take care.